Good evening, guys. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. We are very excited. We have a very exciting program today where we will be talking about and getting insights from our special guests on the topic of waste management and the various efforts that they are taking in their respective communities, not just to manage, but possibly eliminate and or combat this problem. Let's all welcome and give a round of applause to our honorable guests, Ms. Liz Cassandra, a committee member and representative of the Taguig Barangay Solid Waste Management Committee, Mr. Albert Libago, Municipal Mayor at LGU Local Government Unit San Isidro, Davao Oriental, Mindanao, and lastly, Ponce Soto, Mayor of Pasig City. Welcome to the extremely late night show.
Thank you for having us, Lily.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you.
You as well.
I think I can speak for all of us when I say we are very excited to be here. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for coming. I know you are all very busy people, and so I'm also very happy that we are finally able to match all of your schedules for this very important topic or segment of the show today that I believe everyone present in this room is most passionate about and are actively taking measures in their respective areas or communities to address. Now, in respect of your precious time, I'll cut straight to the chase. The issue that seems to be taking the forefront in many countries' agenda nowadays is climate change. With it, many factors come into play, one of which is management, elimination, and or the numerous ways on how to combat the generation of waste, especially in progressive cities like all of yours. My first question is, what are the ways or measures that you are currently taking in each of your communities to address this issue? Shall we start with the Taguig representative, Ms. Liz first?
Sure, no problem. So, in Taguig City, we have always been looking for ways to reduce and properly manage our waste in line with our green governance agenda. Although we have always had many projects supporting this area even way before 2020, I think it was definitely a significant timeline or project plan to mention the one that was launched in February 14, 2020, the Zero Waste Plan, wherein many measures, improvements, and programs were introduced. And the main aim or goal of this plan is that in 3 years from then, our solid waste, those that go to landfills or dump sites, will be significantly reduced by 80%, making us a zero waste locality. Our target is the betterment of health and well-being in the city, and that includes the reduction of air pollution and addressing contamination in both soil and water. To this day, we are continuing with or actively pursuing these efforts, and the more recent update and matters related to this is the newly opened solid waste management warehouse called the Labasan Warehouse in Labasan Pumping Station in Taguig City, of course. And it will serve as a stockyard and at the same time secure holding area for solid waste management, tools, and equipment.
That's a wonderful initiative or program. I just have a few questions regarding what you just mentioned. Can you elaborate more on this zero waste plan? You mentioned that it includes measures to reduce solid waste and improve waste management overall.
Yes, it does, and not only that, it is also within the plan to create job opportunities through these projects. We established a sustainable livelihood office that aids in searching for sustainable alternatives, and a technical working group as well to spearhead or help with the survey of certain related projects. In the plan to further aid the zero waste roadmap, all infrastructure projects of the GIG will have materials recovery facilities or MRFs, where all the accumulated or collected waste will go to landfills, composting for plants, and repurposing of community gardens. Global efforts to reduce the use of plastic is also supported by our city. When shopping, our citizens are encouraged to use canvas or eco bags for groceries as opposed to plastic. Funds are also collected from the city's recycling efforts, and profits will go to building classrooms, other infrastructure projects, and low-cost housing. It is also used to support or give financial assistance to police officers and teachers of the Taguig. And as Mayor Cayetano previously stated, the key to this is information dissemination, focusing on segregating at source. Every household, school, business, and Taguig will be taught how to properly manage their trash. And we stand by this as Taguigeños. We recognize that there is a real problem or issue that we are facing now regarding climate change, and that we, as humans, played a huge part in causing this to blow up and pose a big threat to not only our future but also that of our children. And so we believe that it is only right for us to act now and dive into solving this problem head on, because if not us, who will?
Well said, Ms. Liz. I applaud Taguig City for kickstarting such active and strong projects and initiatives. The city is definitely a fitting role model for other cities to emulate or match regarding the efforts made for waste management. Before we have our next guest share his insight, let's take a short break. Here to present us with 3 model poses, our Taguig representative, Liz. We will be right back in a minute.
Hi everyone, this is Liz, here to share with you 3 model poses.
For the first one, I would call this the power stride or a belt sleigh pose. Number 2, I would call this the contemplative pose. And for number 3, I would call this the one-leg pensive pose.
Welcome back to the extremely late night show. Going straight back to our topic in today's episode, we would like to ask our next guest, the Mayor of Pasig City, Mayor Fonzie Soto, what are the ways or measures that your community is currently taking or have been taking to address this issue on waste generation and management?
Well, as for Pasig City, we have always recognized that there is a huge negative correlation between urbanization and the environment. We have been plagued with this problem ever since, waste management included, which is why we crafted the Pasig Green City program in 2007. To be able to reconcile the relationship between the growth of our city and ensuring a healthy environment comes along with the two. There are many measures included in it as well that are highly related to waste management, such as environmental protection, the employment of 500 green police volunteers as enforcers and implementers of the program, planting of thousands of trees, sustainable farming, anti-smoke belching programs, and many more. As for those directly related to waste management, like in Taguig City, we also support the reduction of plastic. And so, we distributed eco bags to all sectors in Pasig and banned the usage of plastic bags in markets. We provided subsidies for the production of eco bags that help provide an alternative source of livelihood for vendors, as well as enabling both the market and the vendors to sell bags at a lower price to further continue with these efforts. Just 2 years ago, January 29, 2021, Unilever partnered with us and Cemex Philippines for a campaign called Plastic No Pasig, for an expanded plastic collection program. Here we teach many things regarding how our citizens can lower or eliminate completely their use of plastic and the many ways they can reuse, recycle, and reduce. And at the same time, earn from this initiative. There are definitely so much more programs I can talk about, especially in the last year, as well as at present. But these are some of the big projects we created or formed in Pasig to address the waste generation issue.
Oh my, that is a lot. And I'm very happy to hear about all these waste management projects and Green City agendas. Unilever is such a big and multinational company, and so it's great to hear that they reached out for a partnership with you for such meaningful projects. I only have one follow-up question regarding your waste management initiatives in Pasig City. Actually, I recently read about a project called My Pera sa Basura. This program launched in Pasig last year, and there's actually another program, a new garbage collection scheme that started last year as well in April. Can you expound more about these 2 projects?
Yes, absolutely. These are some of the projects I mentioned when I said I could talk more about waste management efforts last year and this year. So I'm glad you know about it and mentioned it today. First, the May Pera sa Basura program was launched on a Saturday last year, October 15, if I remember correctly. Now, this is a joint venture between MMDA and the World Bank. It is part of the Metro Manila Flood Management Project. The problem that we are targeting with this is to solve the solid waste buildup in waterways by using neighborhood-level activities in exact or particular areas in the waterways, drainage channels, or pumping stations in the city. Our citizens bring trash that can be reused or recycled at the barangay hall grounds, and we pay them a certain amount for it. It depends on both the quantity and what kind of waste materials or items we donate. So the price varies from papers to batteries to plastic bottles and more. We also have another event called the Recyclers Fair event included in this too, which is more unfinished products made from recycled materials and so on. On the other hand, the new garbage collection that started last year, April 2022, was a change we implemented, where instead of hiring contractors, we manage and collect waste by administration. Actually, just last month, on April 17th, the garbage truck acquisition was approved by us in the city's budget for this year. So far, compared to the old collection system, there has been fewer reports of complaints, and so we are positively looking forward to development and complete transition of this project in the next 5 years.
Thank you so much, Mayor Fonzie, for giving us such a detailed answer. We can definitely picture all of these projects more clearly, and we applaud all of your initiatives with regards to keeping Pasig clean and green. Before we proceed with our last guest for tonight, here's our last commercial break. Here are two guests, Mayor Fonzie Soto and Albert Libago, in the recent basketball game, 1 versus 1 yesterday. Our guests are truly men with many talents. We'll be right back. See who wins. Introducing our first player for today, Mayor Fonzie Soto.
Oh, I'm in the zone,
Mayor
man.
Albert Libago.
Yeah. Now tell me who can stop me. I'm in the zone. Competition's none in a league of my own. All about the W. I'ma bring it home when it's over with. I'ma be the king of the throne. Now who can stop me?
Welcome back to the extremely late night show. Last on our on-site guests for today, coming from down south of the country, Mindanao, we are very happy to have you here, the Municipal Mayor of San Isidro, Davao Oriental, Mayor Albert. We are very curious to know about the waste management efforts or initiatives in your municipality. Please do share with us how you manage the generation of waste and what projects you have in line with this initiative.
Of course. First of all, I am happy to be here as well. As for San Isidro, we are definitely very passionate about the elimination of plastic. We even created a timeline for it starting from 2019. We'd like to be able to do away with it in 10 years. Our passion for this project plan or initiative comes from the fact that we experience the negative effects that it causes firsthand. We're right beside huge bodies of water. We have a lot of marine life and we are determined to take care of it. As a healthy ecosystem, the water is beneficial for our community as well. Our locals see many cases of rescuing sea turtles that eventually only die in the end because of its consumption of too much plastic. The Philippines in general has a huge problem with managing its large generation of solid waste, which is one of the harmful factors in the destruction of marine life. Aside from our anti-plastic campaign, we also have a number of projects within San Isidro. We pay for collected plastic waste that helps or motivates our community to actively engage in this initiative. We also use eco-bricks for construction of local infrastructure. We are very strict in our policies in waste management within our town, especially in heritage sites such as Mount Hamigitan, where hikers or climbers are strictly required to carry their waste all the way out of the mountain. And lastly, we also have a supplementary measures to ensure the continuation of our efforts by teaching financial literacy and basic waste management procedures to our children. We are set in ensuring that our community, beaches included, are clean and free from trash or any form of waste. We might be a small town, but we, in our own way, are trying to protect the earth, our home that we live in today, as well as the future of our children and our source of livelihood by ensuring that we have a healthy marine life and a town free from plastic and is able to reduce the generation of as much solid waste as we possibly can to make sure that we all have a bright future to look forward to and live as well for the next generation.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much, Mayor Albert. I know we usually talk about waste management and its effect on land, but its effect on water is something that should be highlighted as well. And I'm glad you brought up the subject. It's definitely informative to hear about it from the perspective of someone who actually experiences the effects of unmanaged solid waste, especially plastic, to our bodies of water as our country is vastly surrounded by it. And we have a lot of marine life to protect as well, and that is the main source of livelihood for many of our citizens. And so we have to ensure that it is well taken care of and preserved. Thank you so much for all of our on-site speakers for today. Stay tuned for our one off-site speaker later on in the program. I hope our viewers have learned a lot about all the efforts and initiatives that cities, towns, and various places are trying to make to reduce, manage, and eliminate waste and help our environment recover. And so, if you are trying to make a change, do know that you are not alone and that many of us recognize this threat or issue to our world, and many people are trying to change this as well. Thank you so much for listening to our program for tonight. We hope to see you in our next episode. If you like this video, please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel and to the channels of our representatives, Mayor Fonzie Soto, Representative Liz, Taguig Representative Liz, and Mayor Albert Libago. Feel free to subscribe to their YouTube channels as well. Have a great evening, everybody. Before we end our video, here to present additional information on waste management in the city of Parañaque, our show segment co-reporter, Tiffany. See you guys in the next episode.
Hi everyone! Want to know about Parañaque City's waste management? So, during COVID-19, Barangay Cap Dr. Ed Caballero wanted to pay more attention to waste management and treat it as an urgent and essential public service in order to minimize possible secondary impacts on health and environment. Here are some photos during the garbage disposal at Sirius in coordination with Parañaque Senro CENRO during May 4, 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought us to a new normal, one of which is the faster accumulation of medical waste as well as infectious waste. All Parañaqueños are encouraged to observe proper waste disposal by segregating waste in every household. Some of the things we do to help in Parañaque area: number 1, supervision of garbage contractor, responsible for the supervision and deployment of garbage trucks and monitoring of waste collection in the city of Parañaque. Number 2, source reduction program, management of kitchen waste. Number 3, sidewalk clearing operation. It's responsible for the maintenance of cleanliness and sanitation of roads and all thoroughfares, sidewalks, walkways, waterways, deployment and supervision of street sweepers. Clearing of debris and garbage. It's an ongoing project of SWAESO, SWAESO. It's the removal of assorted construction debris thrown indiscriminately on sidewalks by contractors and builders. Pieces of rocks and wood trimmings along major thoroughfares and main roads are gathered to keep the sidewalks orderly and clean. Number 4, clearing of illegal commercial signage. Basically, the removal of illegal signage placed on prohibited areas. As a rule, a permit to put up commercial tarpaulins and signage are required. Hence, all signs without permit or an expired permit on sidewalks, center islands, and Meralco posts are in violation of the city ordinance, thus are removed by the city monitoring team. Number 5, disaster assistance operation. Waste and debris after disaster were picked up and disposed by the city. Clearing and disposal of fire debris along the sidewalks and burnt areas is one of the assistance programs in keeping disaster areas ready for house demolition and reconstruction. After each typhoon, SWAESO assists barangays devastated by typhoons through collection of uprooted trees and other debris. Number 6, garbage disposal monitoring. The deployment of Bantay Basura. And the best practice formulation Barangay Solid Waste Management Council and Barangay Solid Waste Management Plan, no segregation, no collection policy. Here in Parañaque, we also track garbage collected per month. And we also set a schedule for metro waste garbage collection. So, in hospitals and such hazardous industrial waste and special waste, collection of hazardous waste such as but not limited to medical waste, used batteries, used engine oil, solvents, pesticides, flammables, dead animals, explosives, and dangerous chemicals shall be done in accordance with Republic Act 6969 and only by those collectors and haulers duly authorized and accredited for such purpose. However, used diapers may be collected by the city's authorized collector or hauler, provided that the same had been properly segregated, placed in a separate container or plastic bag, sealed with appropriate markings and identification. For bulky waste, upon request of residents, only then will bulky waste like household fixtures and appliances, tree trunks are collected provided they are properly bundled, and tree trunks cut in size that can be easily tied for convenient loading on collection vehicles. And then markets for recyclables. The recyclable materials are usually sold by the households either to junk shops or recyclers. These types of recyclable materials recovered are the following: paper, white, newspaper, boxes, magazine. Next, plastics, PET, PVC, hard plastics, and then metals, aluminum, tin, iron, bronze, and for bottles like cleared or colored or crushed or broken. For the collection, the strategy for the collection shall involve the constitution and activation of the Barangay Solid Waste Management Committees that will take charge of the solid waste management of their respective barangay in coordination with SWAISO. So like each barangay shall then be required to impose segregation at source. The recyclables and compostables shall be collected by the barangay as mandated by RA 9003. Collection of recyclables will be the responsibility of the city and brought to a sanitary landfill identified by MMDA. And what we've all been waiting for, the final disposal. What we do here in Parañaque City is sanitary landfill. The disposal facility being utilized by the city is at Rodriguez Sanitary Landfill. It's a solid non-hazardous waste disposal facility located in Rizal. It is owned and operated by International Solid Waste Integrated Management Specialists Incorporation. It's a Filipino-owned company established in response to the increasing pollution and piloted SLF, sanitary landfill, degradation of the environment, and the mounting concern for sustainable technology to handle management and disposal of solid wastes, including industrial and hazardous waste. It is based on an area of 14 hectares in size, which receives approximately 3,000 tons of solid waste per day.
What's Gibby thinking about?
Did you know that a staggering 2.7 million tons of plastic waste are generated in the Philippines each year? And did you know that recycling 1 ton of paper actually saves a lot? Such as 9 barrels of oil or 380 gallons, 3.3 cubic yards of landfill space, 60 pounds of air pollutants being released, 7,000 gallons of water, 17 trees, and a lot more. Did you know that 52% of the solid waste generated in the Philippines is biodegradable? Did you know that most of the solid waste that Filipinos generate come from residential sources? 57% of it. These are in the form of kitchen scraps, yard waste, paper, and plastic, among other types of waste. Did you know that by the year 2050, the world is expected to produce up to 3.4 billion tons of global waste? High-income countries generate relatively less food and green waste, at 32% of total waste, and generate more dry waste that could be recycled. Middle and low-income countries generate 53% and 57% food and green waste. Did you know that the average not us, US citizens generate 4.4 pounds of trash each day? That is almost twice as much as the global average, which is around 2.6 pounds each day. This equates to 4% of the world's population, generating 12% of the total trash production. And that is all for What is Tiffany Thinking About?